Welcome back, listeners, to today's episode on the BizBlend podcast. I'm your host, Sana, as always, and today's conversation, listeners, isn't just about the leadership or strategy. It's about the intersection of humanity and ambition. I mean, you know what, listeners? Sometimes the lessons that shape us most don't come from business plans or boardrooms. They come from the moments that break us open. Like it's about what happens when, any personal adversity. It forces us to rebuild not just our lives, but our entire approach, be it business, be it leadership, or even our purpose. My guest today, Risa Selph, knows that transformation firsthand, listeners. She is an award winning entrepreneur, mother, and advocate for patient safety who turned her family's unimaginable experience, her son Nicholas's battle with preventable sepsis, into a powerful mission for change. Through her resilience and advocacy, she is redefining what leadership looks like when compassion becomes the core business strategy. So let's get into it, the real, the raw, and the resilient. Risa, welcome to the show, and I'm really honored to have you here with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Um, Risa, this is absolutely redefining leadership and business as well because as I was doing the intro, one line really it like connected within me is compassion becoming the core business strategy here, and that is rare nowadays. So let's begin. Like let's explore the beginning here. So when your son fell ill and you were kind of thrust into crisis, how did that moment shift your understanding of leadership, both in life and in business?
So, what we've experienced over the past almost 2 years now has definitely changed the way that I do business and I parent and basically live life. We, so on December 23rd of 2023, our son, we took him to the ER and trusted when they told us everything was fine, not to worry, to go home. 2 days later on Christmas Day, he is severely ill. We go to a children's hospital here in Texas, and we spent 40 days there. We went from everything from, him being on a ventilator to them not thinking he was gonna make it, to vomiting blood, to appendicitis, all types of things. Um, but I remember distinctly, Christmas Day when we were in the ICU, and I realized at that moment that nothing else mattered. If the business burned, if everything just went away, that I was going to be okay if my child was going to be okay. And that moment was redefining as probably one of the most, if not the most redefining moment of my entire life. Um, I I took from always focusing on my business to not thinking about it for almost 40 days. And so and so that's obviously gone into what we do now and how we do business now.
Yeah, I can. I mean, I may not be able to, you know, imagine actually, but the kind of experience that makes us lead with a lot more empathy, but also maybe a lot less tolerance for surface level stuff. And one more question, Risa, that comes to my mind is, um, how did that change? How you show up for your team or clients on a daily basis. I mean, for yourself as well.
Yeah, so that's a great question. I had already thought in my life that I saw things differently. I actually lived in India for about 10 years, and, to come back to the States and see a see the difference globally, I thought, "Okay, I can I do things differently." And then when that happened, I s I saw the way that people show up for us a lot different. So, the people that I thought would show up really didn't show up, so those people I was on boards with and things like that, but who did show up were moms that were there for us every day. So, we go to a private school, and those moms came and sat with us. Somebody was there every day. And that was it was eye-opening as to who I let into my life,
Hmm.
because the people I thought would be there weren't, and the people that I didn't even know showed up. And so now when I show up for people, we show up. We show up in a different way than I have ever done before. There is so much more heart behind. If I show up for you, I'm doing it with my entire heart because I know what it means.
Exactly.
It also we we change the way we show up for clients as well, because we show up and we help out and we do things very genuinely. And our mission has always been to do the right thing. But now it is also to do the right thing, but putting up appropriate boundaries and not letting client, because we all have a client that's rude or out of place or everything is an emergency. So
Yep.
kind of restructuring how that comes in, because we're doing marketing. No one is dying over here. And so we try to keep that in mind as we deal with clients, that everything can be handled, but we're going to do it kindly, and we're going to be respectful.
Exactly. Exactly. And I definitely connect with that because it completely changes the way you um perceive relations or communication, um each other's situations. And one more thing that I think it's not only applicable in business or in the world of entrepreneurship, but I think in life as well, that people, uh I mean, everyone will kind of show up in your good times, but the ones who are there in the worst um of your moments, I think I'm going to definitely stick with them because I know they're genuinely there with me.
Right. The other thing that really changed is we were we're in the middle of an active lawsuit. We live in a small community, and a lot of people have been not very kind about me standing up, and literally we're fighting back. I mean, where I'm filing complaints, we're walking through processes, because them not telling us the truth, and then they receive some federal violations for his care, and then ignoring it is not okay. And so I decided this can't happen to another family. And my my boundary of not allowing this to happen again, or not allowing this to make us fail as a family. I mean, because we spent well over $1 million on additional health care and things like that. But um fighting back hasn't been easy either. But it has made me a stronger person. It's made me a stronger mom, and it's made me a better business person in my belief. Um, because I have no tolerance or no room in my life for nonsense. So people that come at me, I I don't really care.
I agree. I agree. Um, and as an entrepreneur, Risa, you are still running a business that has to perform, deliver, and grow. I mean, it's like a two different worlds. They're kind of not exactly colliding, but kind of intersecting, blending here. How do you balance purpose driven advocacy with the, hard, the pragmatic, you know aggressive per se, I mean, metrics of profitability and performance, because typically we have this idea about business people that, they're always like very, they're stuck up with the numbers, the profits and the money. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day we have to pay our bills and we have to run the business, make it profitable. But then there's also this component of purpose driven, compassion being at the core here. So, how do you balance both of them?
I think that we can provide an amazing service and do well and be profitable at the same time. As far as balance, I don't know that there is a true balance because I've had to become almost a full-time advocate for my son and just to work through the court system and things like that, and not to mention medical appointments, that I've had to just lean a little more on my staff than I would like to, but it also means, working Saturdays and Sundays and late nights because I am dedicated to seeing this through, and I'm also dedicated to making sure that my business is successful because I have employees, I have people that depend on me. So, I mean, the word obsession comes to mind a lot because these 2 things and my son, I I need them all to grow, but I don't know that there's always a healthy balance. There's always one that I need to show up for a little bit more than the other.
Yeah,
So it kind of rotates and changes.
absolutely. I'm really happy that, you know, what you shared, it's not what we kind of would expect. No, I balance everything. I mean, it depends on time to time. Sometimes we have to um extend our weekends, or sometimes we have to not sacrifice but kind of try to find stability in that chaos or in that mess as well. um and I think that's what, when you follow through something with purpose, that's what exactly looks like.
I and I agree. It does look like that, and the if it's my son or my family, we will pause everything.
Yep.
But there's a trade-off, right? So I think we all have to go through that, but I think it's healthier if we admit that there's no real balance when you're doing something to this extent.
Agreed. Agreed. um And I think for founders as well, it's a tightrope. I mean, we want to make impact, but then um, yeah, the hard reality is investors, clients, or even our teams, need to see numbers. So I think it's a very, very realistic, very practical approach. And that's the fact that, we started discussing on work life balance, but I think that balance is not like, both of these, both the ends of the scales, it will be equal. It kind of will, one end will come down or one end will go up. So it's not like a perfect balance, but I think it's more of a harmony that we have to maintain through.
Agreed. And one of the things in business that helps keep that balance where people on the outside wouldn't know that, I just got served with a 100-page discovery hypothetical and that I have to go through all this for my personal lawsuit. But because my team, they know that I'm dedicated to them just the same. So it is very much that we balance as a team internally, just like I would balance with my husband, that we all kind of pick up where we need to.
Mm. And this is, I think, this is such an important aspect of your work. Like, you have become an advocate for patient safety after living through a medical system failure. What parallels do you see between the system and the business world, Risa? Like, what kind of loopholes are there, or what improvements, or what changes that you would like to see?
Well, one, in my opinion, hospitals and doctors, especially in Texas, are given what I feel is white coat immunity. They are highly protected, and it is almost impossible to sue them. And it is my belief, based on what I've seen, is they are putting profits over patients. And when they're doing that, it is costing lives or long term damage. But they line iteming that, in my opinion, to be a cost of doing business, which is sad. And we, as my business, we don't want to ever operate like that. It's it makes me nauseous to think that that is how some things or how things that we trust operate.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, here, I don't know. Like people would say, especially in business, that everything is fair in it. But we do talk about ethics, but then I think this is something which is completely non-negotiable, that um this process over people mentality or profit over people. Like, it's uncomfortable, but then it's also real. And I think whether it's hospitals or corporations, I think the ramifications, they outweigh outweigh everything. I mean, so I'm really thankful that you are such a strong advocate for this. And do you think, Risa, that leaders sometimes unintentionally recreate the same systemic blind spots in their own companies? I mean, could be in different forms, but yeah.
Well, when you have large nonprofits or corporations making, 1 or $2 billion a year, and there's a small to minimal price for them to pay to shortcut or break the rules, it's almost more advantageous for them to do that than it is to clean up these systematic problems because there's no consequence.
Yeah.
And so if we do that in our business, because I clearly don't have, over $1 billion, they're going to shut me down or put me in jail or whatever. But if you, these corporations that have these big money, they get away with it.
Yeah. And that's why we need more voices, because, um, yeah, I mean, one person is there present. Let's consider it as a battlefield in there. One person is there in the battlefield, but when there are multiple voices, coming there in unity, they may have different opinions, but the message is same. The cause is same. I think it definitely makes impact.
It does. And one of the problems that we're seeing in this lawsuit piece is previous people. I mean, I've gone through probably every case they've ever had, and it looks as if when they do a settlement or a payout, they are these people are signing NDAs so they can never talk about it. So again, it's like there's no consequence.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not only just restricted to corporations or hospitals, but we have seen it happening across multiple industries.
Oh yeah. And so if they're restricted on talking about it, then again, we're a line item and they can get to continue to do things the way that they want to do them.
Yeah. And um coming on to resilience, I think it's such a double-edged sword, Risa. I mean, it's something that we celebrate. But it can also be very, very exhausting. So, do you ever feel pressured, to keep being strong, when all you want to do is just be human? For example, as a leader, um, it's often kind of expected that you have to hold your emotions in. You cannot show, because it comes in front as a upfront as a weakness for the people you are leading. To some extent, I do agree, but not always it's possible. So, uh, I mean, how do you, like, if in case there are situations, how do you protect yourself from turning that resilience into emotional burnout?
So I've come close several times. I it is absolutely understandable that you have those moments,
Mm.
and I think women probably get a lot more pushback for having them. But the reality is, for me, I have to take time to unplug a little bit and keep myself balanced because I have what I feel like is several full-time jobs, and they are all very personal to me, and they all can be very exhausting. And
Yeah.
there are times where I just wanna go and cry, but for me, I just allow myself and I say, "Hey, you have 10 minutes to feel this way, and then we have to get up and move on." But I do allow myself to acknowledge that. I also see a therapist once a week, just to make sure that I'm venting and keeping those things in check because the compassionate side of me still I want to treat everyone, with kindness and respect um but when I'm feeling close to burnout, I start to lose that. So I've learned to keep that in check by doing the things I need to do, whether it's a massage or taking care of myself, seeing my therapist, whatever I have to do.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that. Um, and this is such, sometimes it really, really kind of becomes counterintuitive because once again we glamorize resilience. Oh my goodness, you have gone through so much. Like, it's a badge of honor, but I think sometimes strength means surrender. Sometimes there is power, there is strength in vulnerability as well.
I agree. And I think for me, like we get we get a little exhausted when people ask, how is he? How are things going? And I understand where they're coming from, but I'm also very direct and I will just tell you the truth. And I I we're ready to move past that. We're ready for the lawsuit to come to an end. We're ready for accountability, but
Yeah.
because it's exhausting.
Yeah. And before we wrap up, Lisa, if listeners they would like to connect with you, not only to explore how you lead with empathy, with compassion, but also they would like to explore, maybe be a part of the voice for patient safety. How they can connect with you, how they can reach out to you.
We have a website that we started. It's risas.pieces.com. So REASASPIECES.com.
Super. Listeners, what I'll do is I'll have all these links in the show notes. So I urge all of you to show support and also connect with Risa. You can share your thoughts. And I think what I loved about this conversation is that it shows us that leadership isn't about power. It's about presence. It's about showing up. And it's not about how perfectly we lead, but how honestly we live through what breaks us, and still we choose to lead anyway. So, Risa, thank you. Thank you so much for being open, candid about how you turned your pain into purpose, for challenging systems that definitely need to change, and for showing that advocacy and entrepreneurship, they don't have to exist separately.
Thank you for having me.
So, to everyone listening, maybe today's takeaway is very simple. Lead like someone's life depends on it, because sometimes it actually does. Until next time, keep tuning into the BizBlend podcast. Subscribe us, leave us a review because that keeps the wheels running here at BizBlend. Until next time, this is your host, Sana, signing off. Take care.